friend. It's so good to see you again. There's no one like you. You can do anything you put your mind to. Just the thing you thought you should know. Are you ready? 'Cause here we go. Wonder Friends, Wonder Friends, Wonder Friends. It's time for Wonder Friends Show. All right.
So today, what we're going to do is we are going to make a cut paper version of this guy right here. Oop, this guy. Oop, this. Look at that. That guy. So look, it's opposite. So I got to go to my left. I got to go to my right. So this guy. Woo, right there. So we're going to do a cut version paper of that guy. I did post a picture a little late. I'm sorry about that. But he comes from this book right here. And this book is called KIWI CANNOT REACH. It's a fun little book, but this guy's a lot of fun to create. And I want to show you a really easy way to make him with cut paper. It's a lot of fun. Remember, stuff with cut paper is just another way of making something. The cool part, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but when we're making these things on Wonder Friends, it's my first time making them too. I make sure that when we do those, that I want it to be real time with me, same as it is for you. So it is the first time I'm making it. So if you have frustrations, understand I have the same frustrations too. I don't really, I don't do all of these things before. I just like it to be when we're together for the first time, I'm doing it as well as you. So let me switch over here and let's get our stuff together. I'll run down real quick to show you what we need to do and what we're going to get together. So let me get rid of that guy there. So remember, we're going to do our little warm-up doodle. But first, just in case you don't have your stuff all together, let me show you what you're going to need. So if you don't have brown paper, these work really great. All this is, it's a grocery bag, right? Just the flip side of it. So if you have one of those handy, go grab one of those. If not, regular paper, and you got a brown marker, right? If you have some of these markers, you got your brown in there. The brown is easy to get to. We can use that. I have some yellow paper that I'm going to use for his beak. And remember, if you don't have yellow, that's okay, because what we have is white paper that we can color. In fact, I'm going to do that just so that way, because I'm going to guess a lot of us don't have yellow paper. So I'm going to show you how to do that again. And then a straw, right? Or a pencil will work just as fine. Some tape or a glue gun or glue stick if you have it. And pencil and, of course, some scissors. So if you don't have those things handy, if you want to grab them, take a second to go do that. That's cool. We're going to do a little warm-up, creative drawing real quick to get our brains ready to make something. So let's just get our marker. Let's just make that little scribble. It does not matter what it is. We are just making a scribble. We are just getting this out of our brain. And I spin mine, right? You don't have to spin yours. Totally up to you if you want to. And then I am going to figure out what I'm going to make it out of this. And you take a second to look at it. And don't think too much of it. And you just want to start making something, because sometimes the coolest stuff comes out of just making something. And again, what we are doing is we are just creating something. It is not getting stuck on what things are. It's thinking about what things could be, right? That is the big part of this. It's not getting stuck on all of the stuff that you wish they could be. It's just, okay, what can I turn this into? And like this, I don't know what this is going to be, but it's starting to look fun, right? And there's not really a set thing that tells me like, oh, it can't be that. I think it's kind of like a weird, I don't even know what it is, but same as with yours. I'm sure yours looks different than what you initially thought it could be, right? I'm going to put a W there because I think he's like I'm going to say he's like a wolf something or other. I have no clue what this guy is, but he's kind of funny looking, right? So let's put a couple there. Let's put a couple of these on here. So some of these you can like really get lost in what you make them out to be. You can have a lot of fun with them and create something that you didn't think could be there. I think that's what's really a good time about these, is that they can be anything. So yeah, there's my warm-up doodle, right? Like, I don't know if at the beginning of it, did you think that it would turn into that? I know I didn't. And I think that probably a lot of times when you guys are doing yours, you realize that some of these things turn into stuff that you didn't realize that they could be either. So I'm going to set that to the side now. So I'll bring this guy into the picture here. So, and I'm going to pull this guy up here beside us so we can see it as we are working on it, right? So we can take a look at this guy. Let me put some white paper behind it so it sticks out a little more so you guys can see it better. There we go. So this guy right here is Kiwi. And see if that's better. I totally forgot to turn on the extra lights around here to get a little bit more light in here. So what we're going to do here, guys, is we are going to make this guy right here that's on the screen. His name's Kiwi. He's in this book, KIWI Cannot Reach. And it's just a fun little book on a kiwi bird. And I don't know if you know this about kiwi birds, but they don't have the ability to fly. They don't really jump much. They kind of walk around. They're nocturnal, which means that they are awake at night, right? And they lay giant eggs for as small as they are. So they lay like one big egg. You should really look them up. They're kind of really cool looking birds if you haven't seen them before. And I believe that they are part of Australia and New Zealand, I think is where they come from for sure. But definitely check them out. It's really fun. This book is a lot of fun. Would love for you to check it out. If you haven't yet, you can probably look it up at your library or your school would have it, or you can pick it up on Amazon or whatever. So I'm going to get rid of this because I don't need this pad right now, but I do have my brown paper. Now, this is just a grocery bag. If you don't have a grocery bag handy, we can use white paper and color it with your brown markers. You can totally do that. Whatever works best for you. This is the easiest way to get those. What's up, K-Kids? Good to see you guys. And Ava, what's happening? So everybody that is new coming in, I just wanted to fill you in real quick on what we've been talking about. We were talking about like... it appears that we are right in the middle of the school day with the Wonder Friends show. So what we've been talking about is adjusting our time schedule a little bit so that way we can make sure that everybody's able to check it out. So we're going to start doing it a little bit later in the day, probably like 2. I will post on our Facebook page when that officially is going to happen. So that way we can get more people to join in and it'll be a little bit easier for everybody. So how we're going to do this is if you already have your brown paper all set and ready to go, hopefully that gave everybody enough time. The kiwi bird, we're going to draw the outline of his body on this page. And it's kind of like, can you guys see that? Maybe I should do this with a Sharpie. Let me do it with a Sharpie. So we're going to draw a U shape just like that at the very top, okay? And you can make it just a little bit longer on one side, all right? Now, really all this is from here is it's just a giant bean shape that loops around and connects to the other side. Now remember, all we're doing is making its body right now. So it's just a shape like that, right? So if you look at the one next to us, what we have here is exactly what we're going to do. Now, we're going to take our scissors and we're going to cut this out, right? So to make it a little easier, I'm going to cut off some of these chunks so it's a little bit easier to hold and all that stuff like that. Remember, guys, watch your fingers, please. I want everybody to keep all their fingers attached to their body. I think it's really important. I think that your parents will think that's really important also. And I'm just going to cut around. So since I have a Sharpie, I'm going to leave that line because I think it might look kind of cool. And if you did the same thing, you can leave that line too. But you're just going to cut around that part, okay? Just like so. I'm going to cut that off there. And I'm going around just like so, like that. All right. Check that out. Now I have this, right? If you look at it on the screen, right beside it, boom. We are so close to that. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right. Get rid of those extra scraps. Now that we have this, if your paper's kind of rolling like mine, see how it's kind of got that bend? Easy thing to do is just take your finger and lightly just kind of fold that, and look, it flattens out. Or you can also roll it the opposite way, and that will help level it out too. So now we have that piece right there. Now I did it too much. Perfect. There we go. I'm going to scoot that one up right there. So now let's say we have our beak. And our beak is, as you can see, yellow. And I don't have some yellow paper. Even though I do, I'm going to pretend that I don't. That way it's a little easier for you guys to see what I'm doing. What I would do is take my white paper and take my yellow marker, and I would just scribble out some yellow, right? Again, remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. When it's not perfect, it actually makes it kind of fun and different. So that's kind of cool. And his beak, all it is just a shape that is just a long V like that, right? It's just a long V. So what I'm going to do is, since I want that black line on there, I'm going to draw mine the same way. It's just a line that goes down like that. And then a little one that comes back just like that. So he has like a skinny beak, just like so. All right. And once you have that, get your scissors and watch your fingers. And we're just going to cut out this beak. Okay. You can hum along, sing along. You can sing a song if you want while you're cutting your stuff. It's totally up to you. Whatever is your method of cutting. It's all cool, right? Because we're just making some fun artwork together. And that's the fun part about this stuff, is that even if yours doesn't look like mine, that's perfectly fine, because that's the whole point, is you're making your version of this, not my version of this. I made this guy, so I kind of know what he looks like. So check it, boom, right? Starting to come together like that, right? Now that I have my extra piece of paper, I'm going to cut a chunk of it off, right? And I only need about this much. And I'm going to fold that in half. And you know what's next, because we've talked about it a bazillion times. We're going to cut two that are exact same thing, and I'm going to do that by putting... Ooh, I think that's going to be too big. What do you think? That is going to be way too big. So I got to make sure it fits, so I need to cut a different piece of paper. So see, look at that. Mistakes happen. It's all good. So I'm going to look this time and see, okay, so I need to kind of keep it a little bit smaller like this, right? So let's make it like this. All right, perfect. Now remember, I need my eyes to have that circle around, so I'm going to flip my paper over, and because I can see through it, because I have a Sharpie, right? I can see the other side, so I can cut through and I can kind of trace through it. If you can't do that and it's too hard for yours, if you hold it up against a window, you'll be able to see through, and you'll be able to do that if you're wanting to do the same thing as me, right? And now I'm going to cut around the edge of this. Just like this. Now remember, this is the magic moment where all of our planning comes into play, that you need your magic Sharpie for, and then you wave it above it and you tap it and you create two eyeballs just like that. Look at how easy that was. 2 eyeballs. And because it's stacked paper, you can move them over top each other and get that illusion, just like KIWI has, where the eyes overlap. Pretty rad, right? So I layer that there and a layer that there. Oh my goodness, it's starting to look like the KIWI bird, right? So let's bring those down here and let's start to position these things. And if you look at the picture on the screen, you'll see that his eyes has one, right? Let's see if I go in the right way here. This way. You'll see that one of his eyes hangs off his body, just like so, and one overlaps it just a little bit. So what you can do is you can set your first one in place, okay? And with your tape, you can kind of roll it a little bit, right? And I can put it down where I think the eyeball should be, right? Because you're kind of following along to the thing on the side right here, right? If you look at him right here, you're kind of following along with all the stuff there. So I'm going to do the same thing. And if you have a glue stick, it works a lot better. If you want to do a glue stick on the back of your piece, it's probably going to look a lot better than what mine does, because I don't have a glue stick. I just have this tape. So then I'm going to overlap, right? Just a little, just like it does on the screen. So if you look now, the Kiwi's got... He's got it going on. He's got it going on. Now, if you look at it, his eyes right here, the beak runs right between those two eyes, and it kind of overlaps and goes underneath one of them. So because we have these overlapped, guess what you can do? You can do the same thing with this guy. Look, see what I did? I put it underneath of the top eyeball. Right? So it gets that whole illusion that you had with the other one. And all you're going to do is just take a little piece of tape and stick it right there, right? And then I can flip it over and I can put some tape on this side and nobody will see it, right? Now, if you get a little tape like I did right here on the side, if you see I have a little bit of tape there, and I just take my scissors, I can just get rid of that little piece of tape right there. And nobody will ever know that it's there, right? So now that we have those two things right there, just like that, Kiwi needs some eyeballs, all right? So his eyeballs, if you look, are just little ovals right inside here. Color them in. And the same thing, color them in, just like so, right? Now, he has, on top of his head, a couple little feathers. You'll see those little feathers that he has all over his body. Now, how we're going to do that is just get your white paper and a black marker and scribble. Right? Doesn't have to be perfect. I think it looks better when it's not perfect. It has more funness to it. And you can just cut out this so it's easier to hold, right? Now, flip it over to the other side. You know the shapes that you want to make is you want to make like a little thing like this, right? Can you see this okay? It is just like a little circle, like half circle thingy. There's 3 of them. If you look at his booty, there are 3 on his booty, right? He's got 2 on the top of his head. So 3 plus 2. Let's do some math for a second, kids. Let's figure this out. 3 plus 2 equals 36. 42. What is it? 3 plus 2. 3 plus 2. 1, 2, 3, 5. Oh, jeez. I was way off. Imagine if we had to cut out 42 of those. How much fun would that be? So I'm going to cut out 5 of those. And he's got some eyebrows, right? So his eyebrows are just little half circles, but they have like a little bit of a hook kind of thing to them. If you see them right there, right? It's got a little bit of that. And I'm going to draw 2 of those, just like so, right? Why did we draw them on the opposite side? Because it's going to be easy to see, right? If it's on the white side, we can see the stuff to cut out. And then on the other side, it's going to be that black shape that we want anyway. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut those out. And you guys should cut them out too. Watch your fingers, please. Right? Cut, cut, cut all day long. Cut, cut, cut while I sing this song. Right? Again, they don't have to be perfect. If you're worried about perfect, you're totally doing the wrong stuff. There's no such thing as perfect. There never will be. So it's just a waste of time. Just make something that's fun to you. It's not going to look exactly like mine anyway. And that's the point. I don't want it to look like mine, because if I wanted to look like mine, I would just make a copy of mine. So you get what I'm saying? it's important to make your own art your way, because I think that's the coolest stuff. I love seeing, just so you guys know, I see everybody's pictures that they upload. I love looking at them. I think it is so cool to see how you guys are getting inspired by the stuff we're creating. And I love hearing the stories of the things that you're doing with those artworks. So it's really, really cool. So as you cut these all out, hopefully I'm going slow enough so everybody can see. And if not, you can always go back and rewatch this and capture all this stuff. And since they're a little bit smaller, make sure you're kind of keeping an eye on them. And I think I only have one more to go. 1, 2, 3, 4. We said we needed 5. I know I counted 5. I thought I cut out 5, but I only got 4. I'm missing one. Let me cut another one real quick. I made all that to do about counting the right amount, and I missed one. All right, so we cut that out. Perfect. And I have one more eyebrow to cut out there, and let's cut that out, just like so. Just like so. There we go. Perfect. So I have my 5 little hairs, and I got my 2 eyebrows. All right, so what we're going to do is just simple, guys. Stick those on. We know if we look at his booty, he's got 3 of them. So guess what we do with those? We stick those 3 where they're supposed to go. Pretty simple, right? Makes sense? So we stick the 3 back here on his booty just like this. And take a piece of tape. And I stick it down there. Just like so. Now he's got his 3 hairs there. And then he's got 2 on top of his head, right? If you look at those 2, they're right there. So 1, 2, just like so. And then I'm going to stick them on top of his head with some tape. Boom, just like that. If you want, you can flip it over. If you want to put some tape on the back side, it makes it to make sure it doesn't fall off. But I'm just going to do that because those 2 I didn't get stuck very well. You know, certainly don't have to do that. And he's got those eyebrows. And his eyebrows, there's one right there, right? And then check this out. So remember, we did that backwards. So what I'm going to have to do on this one, so you guys can see it, is I just need to color that one. So that way I have one facing the right way, and then I'll be able to have one going the opposite way. And again, just so you guys know, I've never made this before either. So this is the first time I'm doing it too, but I'm going to tell you a little secret. Here's what's interesting. When I work in the computer, I kind of think about these characters the way that I am making them right now on cut paper. I use a program called Illustrator to make my characters. And when I'm in Illustrator, if you think about, if I have a character, I can put layers on top of layers, just like cut paper, and the one below it is hidden. So it's a trick that I learned a long time ago that helped me become better at making artwork, because I didn't get so worried about being perfect with it. I was able to hide something that was underneath of another thing, and nobody even knew it was there because there was another thing over top of it. So just like what we're doing with this right here, and I'm just going to take my scissors and trim off these little pieces. And you certainly don't have to. That's just my habit. I have a habit of like really wanting it to be just right. See, I have issues with perfection myself, where I think that I want it to be just right and all that good stuff like that. Now, we're going to skip the legs because I think his legs are going to fall off. But what we're going to do for legs is this straw right here. All right. Now, if you have a pencil, even better. Okay. So before we do that, if we look on his chest, right underneath his beak, he's got those 3 little hairs. So it is just 1, 2, 3, just like that. Okay. Now the straw, what we're going to do is we're going to flip it over, and we will put this straw right there. okay? And it's really simple. You're just gonna tape it on there, right? And you tape it on there. Super duper simple. If you're having issues with this still bending like this, what you can totally do if you wanted to was you could put like a pencil or something back there and it will hold it up. But I think it'll be fine for me. I can totally just move them around this way. I can kind of maybe bend it a little to have a little bit of a crease in there. So that is how, hey guys, how's it going? Yeah. We can make a puppet out of that, right? So super simple way to turn this into a puppet, a really simple character. Again, I want you to think back about all the things that we did to make this guy. Super simple. Upside down J, a big loop around, 2 circles, a stretched out V, some little lines right there, the number 11 up here, and just some couple of eyebrows. It's all simple things that you can use to make a big complex character that looks very difficult, but it's all done with stuff that we already know exist. So, easy, right? So we have our puppet. We got our cool little puppet character, and I think he's a lot of fun. And check him out. Like, I'm gonna probably do a little puppet show with him myself. I think he's pretty cool. So as you guys are going through this and you finish up yours, I would love to see, can you guys do a little video with this KIWI puppet and have a lot of fun with it and send it to me. I would love to see it posted in the comments, all that stuff like that. Again, we're going to work on that new time. So I'll show you when I get this all figured out, I'm going to post it. Sorry, I'm a little slow. I'm a one-man band. It's just me doing this stuff, and I have, I'm working on a couple books right now. I am working on writing one. I'm working on illustrating one. I'm working on writing and illustrating one. So I have a lot of stuff going on. If you guys have any questions or ideas, make sure you, with the help of your parents, shoot me an email. Let me know what you're thinking. And don't forget to go download that time capsule. It's there for you guys. It's free, 100%. For you to enjoy with your family, making memories, all that stuff like that. It's okay. Awesome, Holly. I'm glad that you like the book. You got it today. That's perfect. Thank you so much for the support. I appreciate it. And guys, make sure that you can go to my website, get all those free downloads. It's wondervillestudios.com, all that good stuff like that. And then on YouTube, we have a ton of things going on. So stay tuned for a much updates that are going to be coming via Facebook, right? And your parents are going to know about it. We'll get you updated on all those things like that. It'll give us an opportunity to make even a better show for everybody and have a lot more interaction with all these people. So guys, just remember, just because we're stuck inside doesn't mean that you can't go sprinkle your magic on somebody else's day. You can give them a puppet show, right? You can make a puppet show and send it to somebody to make them laugh. You can draw a picture and leave it in your mailbox. You can put something on the neighbor's door. There are all kinds of things you can do to sprinkle your magic on somebody else's day. Remember, the key to happiness is embracing your unicorniness. And I hope that you guys have a great day. Have fun at school, and I will see you tomorrow. See ya.